Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Chuggaaconroy to give our thoughts on the newly revealed Pokemon in Sun and Moon. So let's get started. Well, Emil, we got a brand new trailer, we got 7 new Pokemon, we got Zygarde forms, and we got the official English names for Komala and Rockruff, which, is their English names. Those were the CoroCoro Pokemon, so, I don't know, I thought I'd get together with you and just sort of give our basic thoughts, because there's really not much else revealed from this trailer. It's just these new Pokemon. So, just gut feeling overall, what do you think?
Well, first off, hey everybody, thank you for having me so much. And second of all, the Zygarde forms are finally not anime exclusive. Yes! I don't know what happened with that. That is the immediate thing that jumps out to me, is the fact that those Zygarde forms, they've been in the trading card game for like a year, they've been in the anime for like a year. Part of me wonders if this was intended to drop last year, but they just needed more time to work on it and figured, hey, might as well make it the anniversary game while we're at it, because they jumped the gun on announcing those Zygarde forms. I can't think of anything else like that since Diamond and Pearl, where they announced Munchlax like 2.5 years ahead of the game's even having a screenshot.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I didn't really, because I don't follow the anime, at least I didn't at the time, I didn't really know much about Zygarde and his different forms. I saw them shown off, but they didn't really mean much to me. But the more I see them, this is a really cool ability, and I'm told by people, like, one of my ideas that I had during that little analysis was they mentioned how Zygarde's cells and cores had to be gathered together in order to form them. And I was like, oh, wouldn't that be interesting if you had to actually go around Alola and find, like, cells, like as sort of like a search quest in order to sort of build up to 10%. That way you can actually then call together 50% or 100% for him. And I'm being told by people, at least in the anime, who knows if it's going to be different for the game, that apparently the Zygarde cells are invisible. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, I will say, it is kind of a shame that there was no Pokemon Z, because Zygarde is really awesome.
Yeah, the Zygarde Complete looks awesome. It really does. It's funny, though, because a lot of people looked at Zygarde and just thought it looked really bizarre and kind of unfinished and, like, really directionless and just how it looked, though. But it was because it wasn't complete. It's kind of like how Kyurem was before it, how Kyurem is meant to be an empty shell. Yeah,
it's a really clever idea. I like the how they go back and forth between forms. They even have an explanation for why the Zygarde that you catch in X and Y can't do the whole form shifting, because it doesn't have the ability to. Other than the fact that seems like they announced it way too early, it seems like a really well thought out legendary.
It does.
Yeah. So all right, let's just rip this Band-Aid right off. Bruxish. What do you think of Bruxish?
Bruxish. Okay, well, first off, I know the story behind it. How it's based on God, I hope I get this right. Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Wapwa. I hope I said that right. My Hawaiian.
You did way better than I would ever do that. I'll say that right now.
I know it's based on that, and I think that is a really neat animal. I think water and psychic type is kind of interesting. That's really all I can say about it. I think it looks kind of funny, but
it's sort of that obvious one, just the big lips, the big teeth, and sort of the odd color scheme. I don't hate it as much as other people seem to. I looked at it, I was like, okay, that looks kind of weird, but I just moved on. Some people just really don't like it, but I will say, it has a really interesting new ability. Dazzle.
Yes!
That is a really cool idea. Nope, if you're trying to use quick attack on me, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a really neat ability, and it's something I'm a little surprised they haven't done sooner, because priority moves, with there being just so many of them now, you have Bullet Punch, you have Ice Shard, you have Aqua Jet, just so many have been introduced over the years that it's almost weird that there hasn't been a counter to them before this point, aside from, of course, stuff like Quick Guard and, I guess, Protect as well, but I just think it's interesting that now there's finally an actual Pokemon that is meant to counter priority moves.
Yeah, and it'd be really funny to me if Bruxish ends up one of the best new Pokemon as far as stats and usability and all that stuff, yet everybody hates the design.
It might be, because, I mean, like, remember back to Conkeldurr, or Conkeldurr, as a lot of people like to pronounce it? Everyone, like, hated Conkeldurr, like, when it came out. They just thought it was so ugly and dumb and everything, though, and it had, like, the stupidest name, but he was playing a lot. He really was. He's good in multiplayer.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's just like design isn't always everything. Yeah, you want a decent looking Pokemon, but I honestly don't think Bruxish looks that bad. Yeah, it looks a little weird, but we've had weird-looking, big-lipped Pokemon before, so...
Oh my god, are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. Moving on.
Well, I mean, you gotta have the weird ones. Like, if they're all, like, psychic dark-type wolves of awesomeness, then there's no one who's gonna stand out.
Exactly.
You gotta have variety.
Yeah, there are some ugly fish out there.
Yes, definitely. And, like, there are definitely real-world animals that are, not always, the cutest. And heck, you have some extreme cases where some of them are just kind of so ugly that they're cute in their own way.
Yeah. That's for sure. So, I kind of get where people are coming from, but also I don't have the vitriol that some people seem to have, where they're just like, oh, this is what's Sun and Moon doing? These are the worst designed Pokemon. Like every time you hear that, or it's just like, these Pokemon are the worst design. What are they doing?
Everyone's always suddenly a character design aficionado as soon as it comes to Pokemon, even though they don't mention it for anything else.
Exactly. Oh boy, but I think one of the big fan favorites though is Cutie Fly.
Cutie Fly is really cute. I think that Bug Fairy is an interesting dual same type attack bonus that you could have. It reminds me a little bit of Scatterbug in that way, how Leavanny being a grass bug, despite that having a lot of weaknesses. In terms of dual same type attack bonuses, it had nice coverage, and it learned good moves to back that up, so I'm hoping that this will be that again. It is another Pokemon that's got Honey Gather, so it's kind of a useless ability compared to an actually kind of sort of good ability, but because like its other one's Shield Dust.
Yeah, it is Shield Dust. So.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice. I do definitely see the appeal. I like it a lot. I think it has good potential in its two types. Of course, unless they're making changes to the type chart again, offensively and defensively, Fairy's one of the best types out there, and Bug's good against some interesting stuff. I think it's got potential.
It definitely does. I like how I have never heard of a bee fly before this point, and my god, it is just like one of those. And
is that a Hawaiian bug?
I honestly don't know where it's from, but if you look up bee fly, it pretty much looks exactly like Cutie Fly. It's just a really tiny, it's a fly, but it looks like a bee, and will actually like put its larvae into beehives so they can eat like the food stores as they're getting older. So they're kind of like parasitic without killing anything. They're still like focused mainly on honey gathering and nectar and all that, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and I'm kind of curious. Do you think it will evolve? I mean, it doesn't seem like the type that'll just stay the type, but I'm not quite sure what it would evolve into.
Well, if it goes the same way that Combee did before it, Combee only evolved if it was female. Because it evolved into Vespiquen, which was like the queen of the hive. I thought that was an interesting... I thought Vespiquen was kind of interesting, and you also have to kind of wonder if it'll have similar moves like attack order and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll go the same direction again, of course, though, and I really don't know how bee flies function, if they even have a queen or whatever, though, but yeah. I think it looks too basic to not evolve.
Yeah, that's sort of where I come from. It seems like this thing needs an evolution. I'm not quite sure what it'll evolve into, but there's an evolution coming somewhere down the line.
I agree.
So, yep. All right, moving on, we got Drampa. Our new dragon type, actually a normal dragon type, which is a very interesting combination to me.
I agree. Yeah, get a fighting weakness in exchange for a ghost immunity.
Yeah, not bad. And I don't know, I like his kind of goofy design, and he has a brand new ability called Berserk, where if his HP drops below half, he'll get a boost to a special attack.
Just remember back to Goomy, the goofy-looking dragons are always the really liked ones. I think this might even be a spiritual successor to that. I think it also having Sap Sipper is kind of interesting. Sap Sipper, you get, I think it's plus attack if you were to be hit by a grass-type move. Let me check.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got one ability that's special attack-based, one that's physical attack-based, so I'm guessing he'll know a lot of different moves if I had to make a serious guess at it. Of course, I know as much as anyone else, I'm just conjecture.
Yeah.
But what I think is weird is I'm looking at the Pokedex data that is released for these, and I think that this is the ultimate in just Pokemon heights and weights being complete nonsense. Drampa is 9 feet 2 inches tall!
What the heck?
And it's not even like a serpent Pokemon. Like, it has like a bulbous body and like a neck and a head that comes off of it. It's not at all like Seviper, where if you stretch it end to end, it's like 9 feet though, but it's only actually like 2 or 3 feet tall. But yeah, Drampa is not like a serpent, and it's 9 feet 10 inches tall. It's also 407 pounds.
Jeez, it does not look that big.
No, it really doesn't. And it's like, okay, if it's that big, what's it going to evolve into?
That's a good question. Actually, here's a question. Do you think this is its early form, or could this be the final evolution of a line?
I'm pretty confident this isn't the final evolution. I've been wrong about that before, because I remember that they showed off Haxorus before Black and White was out, where we knew Axew and Haxorus, but I think we found out about Fracture last out of all of them.
Huh.
So it's not unheard of, though, but I don't think this is a fully evolved Pokemon either. I just think it's kind of funny. If it is fully evolved, then I'm guessing it's the only one of its kind, and it's not an evolutionary chain. But that's kind of unusual for dragon types unless they're legendary.
Yeah, that's a good point. Going based off dragons, it usually takes forever for them to evolve. But yeah, overall, I like his look. It's interesting that it's nice to have a Pokemon that gets along well with children. I'm so used to children being kind of like horrified by certain Pokemon. They finally have a protector.
Yeah, you definitely need a defender from Drifloon who carries children off to the land of the dead, according to the Japanese Pokedex entry.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, and I don't know, like, there's something just goofy fun about his design, and it really fits into the dragon types are either fierce or really goofy.
he might actually be my favorite out of the bunch so far, at least out of the 7 that we saw the other day.
I actually haven't really thought about what my favorite might be. He's definitely up there. Actually, well, of the 7, of the 9, I definitely have my favorite, but of the 7, he'd be up there. I think one of the later ones we're going to talk about is probably my favorite, but we'll get there.
Okay. If we're including, I don't know if we're talking CoroCoro ones in this video though, but if we are, I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, we're going to talk CoroCoro, but they'll come after our initial 7.
Okay.
So, all right. Next up, we have Tapu Koko.
Tapu Koko.
Which is interesting. I made myself sound like an idiot during the one analysis where it's like, is this its actual Pokemon name? Because there's so few Pokemon, there's no Pokemon that only has their name split up into 2 words. And then immediately people came to me like, what about Mr. Mime? What about Mime Jr.? What about, this? I'm like, oh, crap.
Tapu Koko sounds like some kind of like island deity or something. It's just like, we must pay our respects to the legendary Tapu Koko.
Offer your virgins.
Oh God! I was gonna say firstborn. You were the one who brought that into this.
I don't know. I think sacrifice. I think virgins. So there you go. Oh boy, but interesting typing with Electric Fairy, but I think the most interesting thing here is that its design seems very much inspired by a rooster in a very odd way.
I'm not sure if I see it. I unfortunately haven't watched your analysis yet.
Oh, okay.
At the time of recording this, though, but I was thinking it looked more like a mask or like some kind of like tribal thing.
Yeah, it's very much tribal, but if you look at the mask closed and see it then, that's when it looks most like a chicken, or a rooster, I should say.
Yeah.
And its Japanese name is a combination of Hawaiian and Japanese, and I believe it's like the Hawaiian word for sacred, and then the Japanese word for basically cock-a-doodle-doo. So that's how you get its name there. So it's some sort of sacred chicken.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, however, that the interesting thing here is that he's basically the Abomasnow of this game, where he is the electric terrain summoner that we never had after electric terrain was introduced a whole game ago.
Ah.
Electric terrain's by no means like the greatest weather effect out there. I think rain and sun still have it like definitely locked down. But he is still a weather summoner nonetheless, and who knows, maybe there'll be something that's really usable with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Electric Surge, making sure that Pokemon cannot fall asleep. I think that's an interesting extra ability. And
if they're grounded, yes.
Yeah, if they're grounded. And then just being able to power up electric moves, which is, it's nice that they're getting those land types in, making it usable and all that, so you can switch out. And then, of course, he has a brand new move himself called Nature's Madness, which just cuts it. It's basically Super Fang. It reduces a Pokemon's HP by half, which, I mean, that's cool, but it doesn't seem like, when you hear something like Nature's Madness, I expect something a little bit more badass than just cutting its HP in half.
It sounds like the world exploding from too much pollution or something.
Exactly. It's a really cool move name. That type of move is great for catching Pokemon, and nice for cutting down Pokemon that have a lot of HP. But I've never gotten a huge amount of use out of stuff like Super Fang.
Oh, you gotta watch some Worlds matches from a couple of years back.
Oh,
there
really?
Was a certain Pachirisu that went very far.
I heard about that. The Pachirisu that did very well. What did it have a move that cut stuff in half?
It had Super Fang. It had Super Fang. It had Nuzzle. Oh gosh, what else did it have? I don't remember though, but I remember that it worked really well with the guy's team, and
wow.
One of its main things was that it had Super Fang, and it worked particularly well with the guy's Pokemon.
That's great. I've never actually watched Nationals. I should probably do that sometime, because I am trying to...
Nationals is live streaming as we're recording this.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to sort of catch up on Pokemon, especially the whole Zygarde thing, I've been actually catching up on the X and Y anime, so... I'm trying to do my research and catch up on Pokemon. We'll see.
Catch up on Pokemon.
Gotta catch up on them all. Soon enough, I'll be playing the card game and be back into my Pokefever again, which, beautiful. Just what I need. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. But yeah, as a mythical, I'm guessing this is down to legendary. It's probably more of a mythical type, mythical Pokemon. For Tapu Koko.
Could be like the Victini of this game.
Yeah, it could be Victini. I'm sort of expecting something along the lines of Uxie, Mesprit, and I can't remember the last one. Azelf. I always forget him. Sort of like those lakes. Just because you have the 3 different lakes in Sinnoh, we have 4 different islands. It kind of makes sense to have that sort of those types of parallels.
It is specifically stated to be it's hinted at as being the guardian of Marimara Island.
Yes, it is. So, that's I like the lore that they've introduced so far around Alola has been pretty interesting to me to see where they go. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, next up we have our new Pikachu the Hedgehog, Togedemaru.
I think that was one of those things that the Sonic Twitter account did, where it was like, here's put in your name, put in your birthday, and we'll tell you your Sonic fan character's name.
That is awesome.
I think pretty nice, honestly. I think it's pretty cute. Reminds me a little bit of Pachirisu in its colors, but... Mm-hmm.
I think it does well in the fact that it's, it is our electric mouse, basically. I mean, nice job going a little something different. I think its typing is interesting with the whole electric steel type. And I don't know, it's kind of cool to have a hedgehog Pokemon, because I don't... Other than, I guess, Shaman, we haven't really had any hedgehog Pokemon, huh?
I don't think so, actually. I think Shaman's the only one that really comes to mind at the moment. I'm always welcome for more Pokemon having iron barbs. It's one of my favorite abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is really nice. And actually, for the longest time, when I saw it, I thought that was, the thing on the back of its head is was its tail. It's actually just an extended, hair growing out of the back of its head. It doesn't have show its tail.
Oh, it's basically like a long quill.
Yeah, exactly, to act as the lightning rod.
Oh, I know that it's those little squares and triangles and stuff on its body, that those can extend outward as quills, like when it's threatened. But
yeah, it's I don't know. I think they did well this time around with our electric mouse Pokemon. Of course, I haven't actually come across one that I dislike entirely at all. I mean,
I just wish Dedenne evolved, because I like electric fairy type, and it learned all right moves. It's kind of weak.
Yeah, Dedenne really needed an evolution. Maybe we'll get that this time. Not likely, but I mean,
it's just a shame that Pika clones tend to not evolve.
Yeah, I mean, they could really use it, because Raichu is awesome.
It is. It really is.
He's quite a good Pokemon, and it's a shame that they just gets overshadowed, and then for all the other Pikachu type Pokemon, we don't get evolution. So I don't know. Anything else to say about Togedemaru?
Not really. No, I just like it. Not really all that special, or anything stands out though. I'm just a fan of its type, fan of its ability. I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's a good sign. All right, next up we have Charjabug.
Charjabug, the evolved form of Grabbin.
Yes.
So, yeah, there was a lot of debate over, is this Grubbin's evolved form because it has kind of a similar face, or is it its own thing? And yeah, now we actually have our answer.
Yep. And a lot of people have been comparing it to a bus, which to be fair, it does kind of look like a bus. But it's, obviously supposed to be a battery. It is the battery Pokemon. It has the ability battery. And actually something that someone pointed out to us, I can't remember the person's name, unfortunately. They pointed out, if you look at its eyes, that's like a cell phone battery eye. The cell phone battery.
Huh.
Like how much life is left in the battery.
Oh, yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's really clever. It really sticks to its theme, I'll say that much. And for a mid-evolution bug, I think it kind of stands out compared to a lot of the others.
It's kind of nice how it's not just a cocoon, it's also like a battery. So it's storing energy to evolve into something, and just kind of has that whole thing going on. Heck, its ability is even battery.
Yeah, and I guess it's most useful in double battles, considering it allows it to raise the power of an ally's special move.
Yeah, it's a support. When you hear the ability battery, my immediate thought was just when it's hit by an electric type move, it gets healed. But I'm like, wait, Volt Absorb already exists.
Yeah, so it's a little different in that way, and I mean, I'm not quite sure how useful that'll be, considering I don't think double battles happen that often. But
it depends on the game, really. Hoenn just stuck them all throughout some different routes, just so you'd have an excuse to do that. I think in Emerald they made it more common, so you get noticed by 2 trainers at the same time. It'll just be one of those things where we kind of have to wait and see. We know that Grubbin's obtainable on the first route, of course. Seemingly kind of rare because they didn't run into it during the treehouse, but it was, I guess, intended to be run into at that point, but they just never saw it.
Okay.
I'm just speaking from conjecture, of course, though, because they were running around trying to, run into other stuff, though, but they just kept finding Yungoos all the time.
What a shock.
Yeah, they just kept running into Yungoos. They were trying to, make something else appear. I think they had Pikapek as well a couple times. But then eventually they just were running out of time, so you know what, let's just move on. And then suddenly, after the Treehouse Live was over, Grubbin revealed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, there's another Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it was that Grubbin is the least common encounter on the first route, and it was intended to be found there. So, if there's double battles, they're definitely not on the first route, but maybe beyond that point, because we haven't seen anywhere beyond the second town.
I actually have an idea for Grubbin and Charjabug and its evolution, Vikavolt. Which is based on the footage that they showed us, at least in the that we've seen so far. I think specifically the Japanese version of the latest trailer, the levels for Charjabug and Vikavolt are quite high for most starting bug types. Like Vikavolt was at 41, I think Charjabug was at 28 or something like that.
Jeez.
And it's either, I mean, a lot of people say, well, it might not, maybe it probably does evolve at the usual times that early bug Pokemon do, because we had Litten fighting against Tapu Koko. But I'm like, yeah, but they don't want to show off Litten's evolution yet. So I almost wonder if Cutiefly is meant to be sort of that early bug Pokemon to help you out, and Grubbin and his line is meant to be more of viable throughout the entire game. As far
it'd be nice to have an early game bug type who for once is usable past the first few areas.
Yeah, seriously, because
sorry.
No, I was basically I was going to say I hope so, because of the 7 new designs, Vikavolt is absolutely my favorite.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about one of the CoroCoro ones.
Well, CoroCoro is the one of those is definitely my more favorite than this. But out of the 7 revealed in the trailer, Vikavolt is my favorite.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see Vikavolt actually be useful, because coming from someone who he tries to be somewhat informative and things like that, it kind of pains every single Pokemon game to say, okay, this is your early game bug type that becomes fully evolved at level 10, has amazing stats for right now, it is the strongest anything you will be able to obtain. But after this area, it's just gonna fall behind the rest of your team, so I wouldn't, if you want to use it, I wouldn't recommend trying to keep it throughout the entire journey unless you want to challenge yourself, because stuff like Beautifly is amazing when you first get it, but just not that good long term, so it'd be nice. As speaking as somebody who likes bug types and just how they're good against Psychic and Dark and that kind of thing, I'd like to see a bug type Pokemon that you can get at the beginning of your journey that you can actually keep, though, because that in and of itself would be somewhat of a revolution. Yeah,
no kidding. I mean, it seems so viable compared to a lot of other bug types, because I always like having an electric type Pokemon on my team, and to add bug into that to help against psychic types and the like, it'd be great, especially if it got some decent bug moves. I really hope I'm able to use Vikavolt in my team.
I'm hoping it knows Bug Buzz. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't based on how it looks. It's known to use Zap Cannon in the footage. One thing I find interesting, though, is that you were saying that these three possibly have really far apart evolution levels. All three of them have completely different abilities that all fulfill completely different roles.
Ooh, that is a very good point.
You see, you have Swarm Battery and Levitate. So that would mean that if you were to raise on your team, you would get a lot more use out of the abilities, and it would fulfill different roles on a team over time.
That is a very good point, actually. I didn't even think about that. That makes this idea even more viable in my mind, because, I mean, even in its description, it talks about how Vikavolt will use Charjabug as a battery to keep itself able to keep using strong moves.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're sort of like even saying, like, yeah, use Charjabug with a Vikavolt in double battles, and it works out well. I mean, that's what they're designed to do, and that's an interesting idea.
That's really neat, though, because, yeah, you have your first one being good at using bug-type moves, then you have one that's a good support Pokemon in double battles or triple battles, and then you have another one that's just got that handy Levitate to be immune to ground so it can switch in, and heck, I mean, I think we're all happy not having another Venomoth in the world that clearly flies but is hurt by ground-type moves.
Exactly. And actually, I just noticed looking at Vikavolt that it is, I guess, based on a lightning bug, which I don't think we've had before.
I'm not sure, actually.
I mean,
yeah,
it's called the Stag Beetle Pokemon, but I'm looking at its rear end and it's glowing, so that makes me think of lightning bugs more than anything else.
I would hate to be bitten by those long pinchers and have it like shock.
Oh my gosh, that would hurt.
There's one thing I'm afraid of. It's like pinchers on beetles, like snapping shut on your skin.
And this one would hurt. It is 4 feet 11 inches tall.
And we're giving these to 10-year-olds.
Exactly.
It's like how Yanmega is like 6 feet long and it's a dragonfly. It's said to do things like have lethal poison in its tail and also like rip apart the heads of its victims with its jaws.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yanmega is a terrifying Pokemon.
There's a lot of terrifying Pokemon out there. Oh goodness. But yeah, so the website actually updated with the CoroCoro Pokemon as well. And first up, we have Komala. Our koala Pokemon with the new ability Comatose, which basically allows it to never, since it's always drowsy, it never gets any status conditions.
So it's basically a better version of, no status conditions at all, like any?
That's what it says. It says the ability keeps it perpetually in a drowsing state, which prevents it from getting any other status conditions.
I'm looking at the list of abilities here, and it on my screen I'm getting just sleep, though, but that is unofficial. So.
Okay, yeah.
It is Cerebi.net, though, so I trust that above all else.
Yeah, well, I'm on the Pokemon website, so that's where I'm getting this exact information. So maybe it can still be put to sleep. I don't know.
Because if it is just sleep, it's another clone of Vital Spirit, which I'm not really sure. But if it's any status condition at all, then that's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm. According to the website, it says any other status condition. So
it's either sleep or anything but sleep.
Yeah. It's which seems to me, it's like, okay, because its profile says basically Komala is always sleep. It does everything while it sleeps. It battles while it sleeps. It eats while it sleeps, and all that. So because it's always technically asleep, that it actually works into the Pokemon fighting system where you can't get multiple status conditions at once. So it makes sense. Like, how can you put a sleeping Pokemon to sleep?
Okay.
So I do think it is all status conditions.
That's more interesting than I initially thought it was, then. If that's the case, that is.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong. You never know until you actually get into the meat of it, because sometimes the wording is a little off.
I am a little bit curious if, even though it's a normal type Pokemon, I remember when I saw that it had a log, I was thinking like, I wonder if this will be somehow like part grass type or something like that. I think I was guessing normal grass for its type. Doesn't seem to be the case though, but I wouldn't be surprised if the family could get moves like Woodhammer and stuff like that.
Yeah, and actually I wouldn't be surprised if it's evolution, because this is certainly going to be a Pokemon that evolves.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Gets a leaf typing, grass typing as later on.
Could be. Normal grass has a lot of weaknesses, and it's not that good defensively if Deerling and Sawsbuck are any indication, though. But they had fun moves, and I'm hoping this will at least be the same way.
Yeah. Komala, I mean, great design, by far.
It's very cute, very nice. I kind of like how it's almost like the Spinda of this generation. Now Spinda is always confused, so this one's always asleep.
That's amazing, yeah.
I just feel bad for the poor sap that gets stuck with always burned.
Oh, God. Isn't that Slugma? It's like, oh god, I'm always on fire.
Well, there are fire types are immune to being burned, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, and then finally we have Rockruff, my favorite.
I was wondering. I was like, okay, is he gonna say it on Kamala? Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it though? But there we go. Kenai or Vital Spirit for its ability, so 2 existing ones. Pure Rock type. I'm hoping what this will be is that it'll be an actually kind of fast Rock type Pokemon.
That's sort of the sense I'm getting. I think that's the reason I like it so much, because if you would look at it, you would just think normal type, other than the rocks around its neck. And I think because this is a pure Rock type and it's such a different design for a Rock type, I think that's part of the reason I like it so much.
Yeah, it sticks out from the crowd. It's not just another. Rock formation given life. It's not just another like Rhyhorn family or anything like that. It's not anything like that at all. Heck, it's not even Rock ground type like so many others are.
Mm-hmm. Has a lot of potential, and I'm really hoping you're right about it being a faster Rock type.
It'd be nice to have. It definitely would. It would stand out, and I'm doubting like there's. What should I say? I'm doubting. There's not that many fast Rock type Pokemon, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it absolutely does have an evolution. It's because its profile on the Pokemon website says it begins to howl when the sun goes down. It's proof that it's close to evolving. So it will probably get a wolf-like Pokemon.
Yeah. On that note, during the Treehouse Live footage, those sneaky how. When they're like going out catching Pokemon, I think when they caught a Yungoos, mm-hmm. they purposely like cut away back to like the stage where they're sitting there playing the game, mm-hmm. so we couldn't have the Pokedex tell us how many times it evolves and stuff like that.
Yeah, they did. They didn't bother with Pick-a-Pack, but they certainly did that for Yungoos.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They demonstrated it with Pick-a-Peck though, but after Yungoos, they cut away and didn't show how many times it would evolve. So it's kind of a huge deal, even being told that it's going to evolve just clear as day like that, because they were not even wanting to tell us whether something evolved at all back during the Treehouse footage.
Yeah, they've been super secretive about that, especially since the new Pokedex gives so much information. You get the number, you get how many times it evolves, you get all kinds of extra little stuff, and it's cool for that, but it also like you could definitely tell how they're sort of treading lightly.
Very.
So yeah, that is our 9 new Pokemon. Well, I gave my favorite out of these 9. What's your favorite?
Oh boy, putting on the spot here. Okay. I gotta say Drampa.
Okay, I completely understand that one.
Yeah, I think I'll say Drampa out of this bunch. If we're counting CoroCoro, Kamala would be up there too.
Yeah. No, a lot of people have been kind of down on the designs. Overall, I think the designs are great. I really do.
I think Pikipek is cute. I think if you look at Yungoose's Pokedex entry, it's neat how he's based on actual events that went on in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole overpopulation thing.
Yeah, they had a rat overpopulation issue, so they brought in a bunch of mongoose to take care of it, and they just wound up with a mongoose overpopulation problem. So I thought that was cool. I think the Grabbin family's neat, even if Charjabug does kind of look like a bus. I like the lore that they got going on there. Drampa's just funny and goofy and, kind of cute in a weird way. Like you said, we already ripped off the Band-Aid that was Bruxish. Cutie Fly's great. Togedemaru is cute. Kind of basic, though, but alright.
Yeah, he's your standard Pikachu clone.
I don't dislike a single legendary Pokemon that they've shown off. I'd say probably at least her would be Tapu Koko if he even is a legendary, but I'd assume when they say Guardian, they mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's overall, I gotta say, I'm still super excited for Sun and Moon. I think they've done a lot of things right with this generation, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing more.
If nothing else, even if you're kind of down on things, I think we can all agree that the 2 CoroCoros are wondrous.
Oh, yes. I don't think I've seen a single person be down one, like Kamala or Rockruff. So, yeah, I guess that covers everything about the new Pokemon, because there really wasn't much new information besides that revealed. I mean, I guess the big question for me is, I wonder how long it'll be until we finally get a gym leader. Has to be one coming at some point.
At some point.
Yep. All right, well, I think that covers it for our Pokemon Sun and Moon discussion. So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Emil, where can they find you at?
Anywhere at Chuggaaconroy except Instagram, because I don't have one of those. Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those places.
Awesome. And of course, stay tuned to Game Explained for more on Pokemon and other things gaming too. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye, and thank you.